Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead. Metalhead leaves you all alive.
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Welcome back to the Great Metal Debate Podcast. Before we get started, a reminder to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're hearing us on. And thank you for the support. Today we're reviewing the new release from U.S. symphonic cinematic metal act AfterTime titled Arcane Horizons. This is a sophomore album from AfterTime, who shot onto the scene in the late 20-teens with a couple of EPs followed by their debut full-length, The Farthest Shore. An important framing for this review, and to somewhat give my summary thoughts first, is that I truly love the original feel and overall aesthetic of this album and the band generally. AfterTime brings an approach to the genre that I find refreshing. There's so much symphonic or melodic metal out there that, even when the artists are quite talented, falls into a predictable, quasi-AOR friendly sound. This isn't that. AfterTime are somewhat unique in their clean and airy vibe, with great if not exceptionally catchy melodies, highlighted by the outstanding vocals of frontwoman Sarah Wolf. The presentation is actually somewhat minimalistic for a symphonic band, where one might expect every bit of the sonic spectrum to be filled with noise. But with AfterTime, less is often more, and I broadly applaud that philosophy. I actually struggle to find a metal band that brings an analogous approach. While I would compare them favorably to other upcoming U.S. symphonic metal bands like Empress and Shield of Wings, to be clear, AfterTime has a sound which is quite distinct. If I were to describe an artist whose flavor is akin to AfterTime, I might go with the effervescent feel one finds from veteran Russian folk metal act Alkanost. Beyond the overall musical tone, another aspect of this album I appreciate is the flow of the songs. There's a good mix of different track types, and they're arranged in a way that makes the album quite listenable from beginning to end. I might have started off with a more up-tempo track than Arcane Horizons, but otherwise I really like the album's organization. Now, it did take me a while to get into this one, and in hindsight I think part of the reason is that, actually, some of the stronger tracks are found as one goes deeper in the track listing. So don't be shy in skipping a track ahead in your listening if you need. There's plenty to like as one goes deeper. I'll touch on a few of the songs to give some insight. Lament de Morgan is a 6.5-minute epic track that leans heavily on the strength of Wolf's singing. By the Tavern's Light brings a bouncy, folkish quality to the table with, in my opinion, the strongest melding of choruses with Wolf's sweet vocals. I did think, though, that this one also showed some weakness in the guitar mix, with the trade-off lead break between folk instrument and guitar evincing much more dynamism and color in the former and a too muted sound in the latter. Under a Midnight Sun is a brief instrumental choral mental arrangement, which would be at home in a Nightwish album. One of my favorite songs on the album is Armored Heart, as I think this one best melds the power of Wolf's voice and majesty of the orchestrations. Those symphonics aren't cookie-cutter as with so many melodic metal bands. There seems to have been some real thought put into their application within the context of each song. And this is good, because they are integral to every song on the album. You could remove the guitars, the percussion, perhaps even the vocals as strong as they are, but those orchestral elements in many ways are the melodic core of each track. The guitar lead breaks are often very understated in their execution. You won't find yourself bombarded with a riptide of notes, but rather a considered light mist elicited from the fretboard. And this approach works well on tracks like Armored Heart and Amongst the Trees. Other songs such as Sons of Fenrir and the Epica-esque Goddess of Dark Horizons, in my opinion, could have used a little more punch in this area just to pack in a higher level of energy before the final chorus. The track of Lust and Rust has a beautiful vocal melody, and I really enjoy the structures as contrived within each verse. But the whole effect becomes a bit repetitive. Just a little additional change-up would have gone a long way here, including making the abrupt ending seem less so. I wouldn't tell the band to stop experimenting with these epic poetic tracks, but I also don't know that's their sweet spot or best identity. While I've noted critiques and will have one more, there's plenty to like here. Despite falling in the general symphonic power metal category, AfterTime are no Leaves' Eyes or Xandria clones. They have their own unique sound and style. Some might or might not appreciate that style, put me in the former camp, but you can't say what they do is merely derivative. They display a lot of originality both sonically as well as visually. In my estimation, the vocals are the highlight of the album, and I'd especially recommend this to fans of high-range, clean singing. Wolf's voice is crisp and fresh throughout. She is an incredible talent, and I'm frankly excited for what future years hold for this young artist who surely has not come close to the apex of her abilities. The compositions on Arcane Horizons allow her to shine, giving plenty of space for her vocals to be heard. You'll never hear other instruments come close to overlapping her voice's position in the mix. Did I mention the backing choirs? They are perfectly added in all the right places, and alongside the orchestrations provide a foundation of melody that truly enhances the music on Arcane Horizons. Kudos to the composer for integrating these so well. Before wrapping up, I'll note one final criticism of the album, which is based on the contrast between their recorded music versus my own personal experience seeing the band perform live a few years back at Mad with Powerfest. For that show at least, the guitars were a smidge higher in the mix, and I found that to be a good thing. I don't need them out front in the production, but there were some tracks on Arcane Horizons where I'll admit I can't recall the guitars at all. It's not a major thing for me, but worth mentioning. Looking now at 2 full albums of material, to my mind, AfterTime do a lot of things well. They have a beautiful, distinct sound overall that has included some amazing melodies, and that has translated into some excellent songs. That I can't say all their songs are excellent hints that the band could still improve here and there on overall song construction and vision. Sometimes I think in my head where the band is going, but even if they don't always quite reach the heights they're reaching for, it's still worth the journey. I'm giving Arcane Horizons an 8 out of 10 rating. You can purchase Arcane Horizons as well as other music and merchandise from the band's website, AfterTimeOfficial.com, and be sure to check them out live touring the U.S. this July alongside Helion Prime.